Hello and welcome to Coast Revolution, a live panel coming at you in your lounge room around the fireplace. Perhaps shout out to the Tumby crew there. Wherever you're watching from, ladies and gentlemen, dogs and grandmas, it is wonderful to have you here tonight. I've got the crew here on my left. My name is Caleb. You've heard my voice on the podcast the last few weeks. Sorry about that, but I'll let these guys introduce themselves real quick. If you don't recognize this face, well, she's a bit of a VIP around here.
Random.
Random?
Definitely.
She's going with a random alias tonight. How are you tonight, Peter Bilton?
Good, thank you. Thanks for having me. This is fun to hang out with you all. I feel a bit privileged.
You got the corner. She got the corner of the couch.
I did get the corner.
It was a bit of a power move when you sat there. I was
like 3 pillows.
Yeah, I was a little unsure when she sat in the corner. I was like, is that like because you're going to answer all the best questions or... Anyways.
We'll just need the extra help.
Okay, we'll see what happens there. We've Peter and I are also watching the chat on YouTube here.
Yeah.
So keep those comments coming in. We'll be watching. Next up, Maya, how are you tonight?
I'm pretty good.
How are you feeling about answering questions live on YouTube? Something you've done before?
I'm nervous, but I'm really excited.
We're excited to have you here. We think you're going to crush it. You've even got a notebook. I didn't bring a notebook.
So prepared.
That made me nervous. I did bring something else though that I think you'll like.
Yeah.
I'll introduce you to what I brought in just a second. Don't worry, it's not the chickens. Aiden.
Yeah.
How are you?
I'm here.
You are a face for YouTube Live, my friend. An influencer waiting to happen. How are you feeling with your premiere on YouTube Live?
Well, we'll see how it goes. Hey, I think it'll be fun. I'm looking forward to it.
It's going to be fun.
So far, so good.
We had a look at the questions. How are you guys feeling about the questions that have come in?
Keen. Great questions.
Yeah.
Some of them are hardcore and some of them are fun. So let's
see.
There's
a good mixture.
Very opposite ends.
Yeah.
We'll be throwing to some videos as well. We've asked some of the leaders to tune in. We'll throw to one of those in a second. I said that I brought something along. A little earlier in the year, there was Soul Online.
Yes, there was.
Some of you might also remember, and one of the hosts of Soul Online rocked his dressing gown. So I wanted to take that privilege tonight. So I don't know if you guys brought any costumes, but I've brought along my Seagulls dressing robe.
Excellent.
Happy with that?
You just need Eleanor written across the front.
Eleanor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also known as the Manly Seagulls.
I got the Manly Seagulls. I'll add Eleanor's face next to the emblem.
Perfect.
Everyone reacted well except Maya. Watch for Maya. She might... I don't know what she's happy with the dressing room. But anyways, like I mentioned, we're going to throw to some videos throughout this evening to find out what some of the other leaders thought about the questions that you sent in. First up, we're going to have a look at the question, what is your favourite worship song? Starting with the big question here. It's a huge one, guys. Did you submit an answer in this, or do you want to tell us your favourite worship song?
I'm just excited to see everyone else's, to be honest.
You're probably like Waymaker, right? Like, yeah, Waymaker. Yeah. Okay. Do you have a favourite worship song?
Look, it's Oceans.
Oceans? Yeah,
It's
fair enough.
just...
Not too overplayed in your mind?
No, not played enough.
What?
Ooh.
I've never heard
I
of it.
beg the worship team every week. They never play it.
Taya,
Because it's too much.
Taya was glad to hear that because most people are saying it's overplayed now. Aiden, favourite worship song for you?
Mine's in the video, so...
Okay, we'll wait and see. Well, we're going to throw to this video. You'll see Aiden and a few of your other favourite leaders as well answering what is their favourite worship song.
Come on. Fill this place with his praise!
I've probably got two at the moment, I reckon. One would be Crowder's Forgiven, and the other would be Hillsong United's Ready or Not. Yeah.
My favourite worship song is actually a really old song called History Maker. It's from the 90s. It's by a band called Delirious. And for me, that song was a really significant song during my late teens and early 20s when I was trying to make a decision about what I was going to do with the rest of my life. And the song's about how as Christians we actually can have a significant impact on our world. And I think for me it became a bit of a personal anthem as I eventually made the decision that I was going to choose full-time schools ministry as my career.
Waymaker, the Leland version, it's more in my range.
I reckon my favourite worship song is, well, it's my favourite one to sing in the car, and it's Waymaker, but sung by Mandisa, because
the Leland version.
Mandisa, because she is only the coolest singer ever, and I totally like drive along pretending that I am her the entire way. And look, I couldn't be further from it, but there you go.
It is For the One by Bethel.
Favourite worship song at the moment is Lay It All Down by United Pursuit.
Favourite worship song at the moment would have to be Lord Send Revival by Hillsong Young and Free.
Favourite worship song, Not in a Hurry by Will Reagan and United Pursuit.
When it comes to choosing a favourite worship song, I don't have favourites when it comes to like anything. Particularly worship songs, I feel like I'm passionate about so many, and also like worship and what song I'm leaning into each time kind of depends what season I'm in and where God's leading me and where we're at with our relationship. But also right now, I absolutely can't say a song because I feel like I've gotten to know so many new Christian artists during this time, and there's just been so much music that I feel like God's been using. But because you have to pick a favourite, I will go on the bandwagon for The Blessing. I just love the song and what it means, and how open the love is that it sends to all of us. But I've loved how it's united Christians across the world and across denominations, as we should be. So I'm really grateful for that song.
All right, there you have it. Favourite worship songs. Oh, there was a few favourites there. We could hear that as well.
Yeah.
Any standouts? I love Not in a Hurry from Roe. Favourite song.
Yes.
I don't know who Lisa was talking about. Delirium.
Delirious.
I don't know who that. Help me out.
Delirious. So anyone older than 25 should know Delirious.
My dad loves Delirious. No, seriously, loved it.
Put in the comments. We're watching the comments. Thanks for the comments so far. Angus Cross, thank you for the shout out to Tom French. Tom French, hope you're watching. Some great stuff there. Comment what your favourite worship song was.
Yeah,
and also, special comment, please let us know if you know Delirium?
Delirious.
If you know who Delirious is, because we're still trying to figure that out over
If
here.
you do, kudos to you.
We're going to jump into these questions in just a moment, but before we do, I'll just remind you, I was just chatting with you guys about the competitions that we've got going as this night is playing on, right? So, 2 things to watch for. Common phrase at Soul Survivor.
So good.
So good.
So good.
That's going to be challenging. But the challenge tonight is to count how many times you hear that phrase. Behind the camera, we've got Kaz and Eleanor with the official tally of how many so goods. They've got a whiteboard marker and a giant whiteboard there.
Official.
Count it. Yeah, it's very official. That's what I'm trying to outline. Yep. Thank you for saying it like that. So whoever gets closest to the official tally at the end of the night, congratulations, you'll be the winner there. We'll sort something out for you. The second game, well, we've all been caught victim by Zoom in some fashion.
Haven't we?
In the
Bad
last,
internet.
yeah.
Victim of bad internet.
Do you have bad internet in your house?
Well, sometimes. Hopefully tonight's okay.
Yeah, some people are known for it now because of
Yeah.
that bad internet. You're like, this person will crack at least 4 funny frozen faces.
I have to sit in my stairs in my
Yes,
house.
you have bad internet.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah, I remember.
Face person.
You can hear my brother yelling at his friends on Fortnite.
It was awesome. We interviewed you in the podcast earlier this term, and you were sitting in the stairwell. That was the first funny part. We were like, we don't know what's going on, but we're just going to go with it. It's a podcast. It's all good. You can sit in the stairwell if you want. Maybe the acoustics are good. And then in the background, you could just hear, "Oh, no, what are you doing?"
It's great when other people mention, hey, so what's that in the background?
Yeah.
And I don't even hear it.
Yeah,
Like,
so
can you do that?
Oh, sorry. I'll just mute myself for the rest of the Zoom. Excellent.
But you're the one. Anyways, so those are the 2 competitions. Count the so goods, and you also have to try and get the funniest screenshot of the 4 of us, or a feature leader during a video. Just the funniest screenshot that gets submitted.
This is dangerous. This is so dangerous.
It's dangerous. We're putting ourselves.
Kids are sitting behind their phones,
Yeah.
very like.
I don't know whether I want to be in the funny screenshot, whether I'm going to pull some rare faces and people might have to look for them. Like, that would have been a good one, for example.
Yeah.
The moment was gone real fast, though.
Can you do a countdown, like 3, 2, 1?
At the camera. Like,
But okay, we've got the competitions. We've started with a big question. It's time to get into the questions. This one's in bold, so we know it's a big deal. Coming from the Tumby Junior girls. Why is life hard sometimes? Starting with an easy one. Over to you guys.
Oh, it's me. Look,
We just looked to Maya.
I was expecting it, but I wasn't expecting Okay, so right. So we can never really know why things are hard. Like we can never truly know the grand scheme of God's plans because we only really see this much of it. And so they don't ever make sense in the moment. Like you always see how am I going to get out of this? There is no way. But I'm going to throw it to a Bible verse that's pretty popular, but also overused. But it's just been so good for so many moments in my life, especially. It's Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, says the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future. And then it goes on to say, you will seek me and find me when you seek me with all of your heart. And so, at the end of the day, if you're experiencing something really troubling or you've got anxiety about it, there's no better way than to turn to God and just say, give me guidance, give me refuge. Because it's another thing I've learnt that from prayer, that when you pray for something like patience, if you want more patience in your life, God will not give you that. He will give you the opportunity to be patient. And you'll have moments in your life that you can grow as a Christian and grow to learn God's way better.
I love that. It's some of the biggest moments, right?
Yeah,
it's those hard times.
Yeah, well, you can't grow at all if things are easy.
Right.
You only grow when there's struggle.
How good's hindsight though?
Yeah.
I made up a saying because I thought I was a philosopher when I was 12. Wait for it. I've never got to share this. Not on YouTube Live before. If we all had hindsight as foresight, we wouldn't be such a sorry sight.
Ooh,
that's good.
You're 12-year-old philosopher. That's excellent.
Sorry, I kind of jumped in there.
Yeah, no, it's so good. But it's just life is tough and there's always going to be things that we go through. But God uses everything.
Yeah, and He uses it for a greater purpose as well. So you always come out of it feeling on top of things because you've just got God behind you and with you in every way.
Yeah,
it's just how to live life.
Yeah, I love that. Speaking of worship songs, Another in the Fire.
Yes.
That song. There was another in the fire. Yeah, it's like you go through the fire. No, not pleasant, but there was another in there with you.
Yeah.
When it was hard. And you will, like we've been talking about, come out of it better. Is there anything you guys would add to that before we tackle the next question?
Just that, in the moment, it's definitely not easy, and it's very hard to see the reason why or some benefit out of struggles and why life is hard. But the reason it is hard is so we can overcome it, and God's given us the power to do that through everything that He's imparted into us, but also the resources around us, the people around us, and He's given us everything we need, whether we know it or not, to get through any struggles that we have. So that's hard to see at the time, but it's there.
Yeah.
And I think you'll be hard pressed to look in the Bible and not find a verse that can be applicable to your situation. It has everything.
Yeah, absolutely. Great answer there. Well done, guys. We kicked off with a pretty brutal one, but well covered there. I just want to refer to what's going on in the chat real quick, because the worship banter hasn't stopped. Talk about from generation to generation. We've gone from someone said "Reckless Love," great song. And you might have to help us out here. Tim Greenwood came in with "Jesus, Lover of My Soul."
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Talk about generation to generation. The next one that came through was 1098. God is great.
Keegan,
you guys. What?
Guys.
Who you? Colin Buchanan.
Yes. Okay. I was just checking.
Okay.
What?
Okay. Here's the weirdest thing.
Classified as a worship?
I've used to listen to all. Yes, it is. Honestly. I used to listen to him all the time, and then for years I haven't heard anything. And then I saw him on the Blessing video.
Yes,
and it was like
the dude with the chicken. It was the dude with the chicken.
Yes.
I didn't know that. You know the dude with the rubber chicken in the Australian Blessing video?
Yes.
That's Colin Buchanan.
Okay.
My dad pointed it out first, and I was like, no.
Yeah.
Then my brother googled him, and that's.
Yeah.
Did you see in the Australian Blessing at the very last scene? There's someone in a shopping trolley.
Yeah.
What?
Australia represent.
That was like the youth group.
And
told to do it.
And none of that in the American Blessing. Just okay. Well, we got a little sidetracked there, but there's some great stuff there. Keep the comments coming through. We're gonna go to the next question, and it is another corker from one group of gals to the next. We had the Tumby Junior girls. Now we're going to go to the Tumby Senior girls. 2 questions here. Shout out to you guys. Hope the fire is toasty. We're going to have to kind of tackle these questions together. 2 really tough things that are hard to explain in life. Talk about hard things happening in life. The questions are, if we're all wonderfully made, why are some people born with a disability? And then the other question they had was, where did mental health issues come from, and what are God's views on it? So disabilities, mental health issues, really tough things. It's like, why do these things happen? Let's dive into perhaps trying to explain and understand some of those things.
I'm looking to you this time.
Oh, look at me. Excellent. Well, I think. Well, actually, no. Aiden had some good thoughts on this.
So it's easy to go to say, why did God let things happen? Why does God let bad things happen? And the reality is, we live in a broken world. So there's things that are wrong all the time, and there's things that are wrong in us and people around us, and whether that be physical, mental, or tragedy that happens, or COVID, like there's a lot of bad things going on. But I think the real question is, like, where do we see God in that? Not how does He let it happen, but where is He there? And I see He is, for one, on the front line. He's in and through people, helping people get better, or helping people through something. But the whole idea of the gospel message is the redemptive purpose on making us as people whole, as like making us more whole and more perfect, I guess, in His sight. The longer we spend time with Him, that's why people that we know who have been Christians for ages seem like they've got their life together, because they've got their life together with Jesus, and they've been walking with Him for so long, and He's making them whole. And you see younger people like us, hopefully I'm who haven't
Delirious,
who haven't done this long, and we're just it's a struggle because we're still working it out. But God is there to make us whole.
Totally.
Yeah.
For sure, Z's. And I think just to touch on the mental health stuff, is that it's always a journey for everyone. And sometimes we get sick in life, we get colds or whatever. And it's not something, it's just a part of the world that we live in, unfortunately, is that, we go through hard things. We just talked about that. And also we can get unwell. And we can also get unwell, in our own minds. And just like we have to take care of our bodies, we have to take care of our minds as well.
Yeah.
And so when it comes to mental health stuff, there's actually practical things that we can do to help look after ourselves and look after our minds.
Yeah, and it's fine to go and talk to people about
Yeah, I think that's a huge message, right? And it's a message that fortunately gets spoken about more nowadays, perhaps than a little while ago.
I can shout out to Summer, who's pretty good at doing her squats or push-ups or whatever, 25 days, and it's every day tells people it's fine,
that's right. Talk about these things.
And that's the thing, we kind of need to make it not a taboo subject, the whole mental health. I guess this needs to be on the agenda for everyone. So it's not weird. And we can talk about it.
I think that's one thing that we've all got to get through our heads is it's not even uncommon.
No.
It's all like we say it's taboo. It's like, oh, we can't talk about it because I'll be different. Well, no, we all go through hard stuff.
I have friends that don't have any diagnosed anything, and they still go to see someone just to chat, just to work things out, because life's hard.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
Things happen.
It's funny. There's a book by John Ortberg called "Everyone's Normal Until You Get to Know Them." So no one's normal.
Yeah.
And
I'm weird.
Yeah.
Weird.
I'm just getting to know you, and I was already picking that up. That's why I was like, sorry.
Exposing it.
Cool.
Oh, you've got a good thought about
A thought or a Bible verse?
Yeah, I don't know.
I came prepared.
See,
Notebook.
God, no.
I was nervous. So I actually found this verse in John 9 that literally answers like why disabilities, or it doesn't really answer it because you can't answer it. But why people have disabilities and are born with certain limitations. And it's John 9, 2-5. It says, "Who is responsible for this man's blindness?" Referring to a blind man that Jesus.
Wow, that's what, okay, yep.
Wow. Did he commit sins that merited this punishment? If not his sins, is it the sins of his parents? Neither. And then it goes on to say, he is blind, so the deeds of God may be put on display. Wherever I am in the world, I am the light of the world.
Right.
And it just, like God presents himself in so many different people. And it's the people who are like limited the most and who have Jesus within them that you see the most of.
Totally.
And that do the most with it, I think.
Yeah. And I think there's something in that for us as well, that we should love people no matter what.
Yeah, like we are God's hands and feet in this world. Like we are here to
It's our responsibility, right?
Yeah.
What a privilege, to be able to
The
say
biggest.
that and go and do something about it. It's really cool.
Absolutely. Well, hey, we're going to throw to another video question. But this isn't coming from youth leaders. This is coming from Pastor Andrew McGuinness. So we've thrown some of the tough questions at him. There's a few questions here he's going to answer. He'll talk you through them as we go. But the first question that he's going to be tackling is, and I'm glad Andrew's tackling this, I'll say that much. When did Jesus' parents die? Unusual question there.
Good question, and there's not a simple answer. With Joseph, Jesus' earthly father, the Bible does mention him when Jesus is 12 years old, and then he doesn't really get a mention again. Other than when Jesus was in his hometown and he was doing his ministry, someone asked, "Isn't this the carpenter's son?" Now that could mean Joseph was still alive and they knew about him, or it could mean they already knew he was dead and just remembered that he was a carpenter and Jesus grew up in his home. So we don't really know when Joseph died, but we think it's before Jesus went into ministry. So sometime through Jesus's teenage years probably. And Mary, she was still around when Jesus was crucified and rose again. She's last mentioned in the book of Acts in chapter 1 when she was there when they were choosing a new disciple because Judas went and sought himself out. And Mary's not mentioned again. Church history would indicate that Mary actually lived quite a long life and died later in life. Which would have been probably around the 70s AD. So we don't know that for sure, but that's what church tradition says. How many brothers and sisters did Jesus have? Good question. We don't know the exact number, but we know he had some. In Matthew chapter 13, there's a passage where Jesus is in his hometown and a bunch of people are sort of complaining that who does he think he is? He's saying all these things. And then they question, isn't he the son of the carpenter? And his brothers are James and Judas and Joseph and Simon. So there's at least 4 brothers that are named. And then it also says, and aren't his sisters here with us as well? Sisters being plural. So there was at least 2 sisters at that time. So Jesus' brothers and sisters, who were the children of Joseph and Mary, we know of at least 6, there could have been more. Okay, were there other people outside of the Garden of Eden once Adam and Eve were expelled? Great question. The Bible is not designed to answer that, but what we can pick up is Adam and Eve had 2 sons, Cain and Abel, and if you know that story, Cain killed Abel and then Cain was kicked out himself. And Cain says when he was kicked out, but what if someone comes to kill me? So that's implying there's already other people out there. And then God's response to him was, well, I'm going to make sure anyone who tries to kill you can't kill you. And he puts a special mark on him. But so there's an implication there that there are other people out there. It also says that Cain then married and had children and built a city. Now, you probably only need to start building a city if there's quite a few people to be living together. So the Bible doesn't answer it directly, and it's not actually designed to answer that question. But what we can infer out of the Bible is, there was other people around, absolutely. And the story of Adam and Eve is a story that brings us to a personalising way to connect with God and how God interacts with humanity. Not necessarily they were the only two people on earth at that time, but that's something for you to look into.
I don't know who the boys are on YouTube, but thanks for letting us know you're here, boys. Great answers there from Andrew McGuinness. Some tough history questions there. Glad he took care of those.
Yeah, excellent.
We're going to go to a question here from, again, the Tumby Senior Girls. This one's been aimed at you, Ados. Don't know why.
Okay,
but here it comes. Was it weird that Jesus started his ministry so late, like in his 30s?
Like? Question mark?
Oh, no wonder I'm
Like?
that.
Yeah, I was trying to do the way they've written it. Like in his 30s? I think that was implied.
I have a theory that Jesus started that when he was in his prime, not 30 is like
Come on.
his prime.
Haven't even
And
hit it yet.
I've also got the theory that
Aiden still hasn't hit his 30s.
that's the age that Adam was when he was created.
Ooh.
That's my theory.
Ooh.
Adam
What's the
was
basis for that theory?
Well, just because Jesus is called the last Adam.
Yeah.
And like the next perfect person, I
Yeah.
guess. And Jesus started his ministry then, and I think Jesus was like this fit tradie.
Yeah.
Prime.
Buff training.
Yeah.
Shout out to all the chippies out there watching. Yeah.
So I just picture Jesus like this, just right in his prime. Also, separate to that, he has to be old enough to have learnt enough about the Torah as he was growing up for people to respect what he's going to say. So I'm sure when he was 10 he could recite everything that he needed to say, but he needed to reach a certain age for people to respect who he is and for him to get a following of people. And
You could tell he even had challenges with that once he started his ministry. The people in his own town didn't want to buy it.
Definitely.
They were like, no, we know who you are. We don't want it. So yeah, I can imagine if you came in as this like, I don't know, 23-year-old pretending to know stuff.
Yeah. Well, I am graced with a bit of age, and I do know that when I was 18 I knew everything, and when I was 20 I knew everything, and when I was 25 I started
Even
to
more than
that know much.
Oh.
And the older I get,
It changes
I
at
feel
25.
I feel like I get less and less. Yeah.
Okay.
So, well, for me it did. And the older I get, the more I go, I don't know. I don't know. Like I'm now like learning all the stuff that I thought I knew.
New game on the chat. Guess Ados's age. See what comes in.
Can't look at my rogue.
I think you know a few grays too. Anyways, anything to add there from Peter?
I think it would have been interesting to look at like Jesus's whole lifespan, like what he would have been doing at like in his 40s or 50s. Like how would his life have turned out if he hadn't spoken the gospel at that time? Because if he just kept on going and waiting, and then like in his 60s, what would his life have looked like? Would he be like married? Would he have like kids? Would that like influence it all? Would that change anything?
The story might look different had he. True.
Like,
Side note, I love that his mum was involved in telling him to get his miracle on for the first time.
Yeah, it's so good, eh?
There's a lesson in that. If your mum's still giving you instructions, listen. Okay. Let's go to a.
What about just quickly?
Yeah.
How old do you reckon Adam was?
Yeah, you want to check your theory, don't you?
When he was created.
I've never thought about that. Have you ever thought about that?
Don't we say he's years old? So would it have been 0?
I'm trying to think. Yeah. Oh yeah. Years of age.
Technically, maybe. Yeah.
Years of age. You're right.
Scandal.
Yeah, and they were all living to like 900 during those early days, so it's all whacked anyway.
Yikes.
Maybe your theory's blown, man. Let's not dig into that anymore. I want to go to a question here. This is a cracker. In Peter's words, we love this question.
I do love this question.
Do you want to tell us the question? Tell
The
us.
question is, How do I know what God is calling me to do?
Tell me!
Oh, yeah.
And like, particularly when you're at the later end of high school, or like maybe you're at the beginning of high school, and you're like, what am I gonna do with my life? Anyone got any thoughts?
Oh, good one there. Yeah, I love this question. You guys go first. You know she's got a good answer.
I love this question. I'm going to ask it.
It's a good question to ask.
It is. It's very good.
I don't think it matters. Like,
Whoa.
Because especially these days, you can change your career so easily. And if we grow up thinking that we need to decide now what we're going to do forever, it's just a bit of a weird idea because you don't even know what you like and what you're good at yet until you give stuff a go. So I don't think it matters. I think we stress about that way too much.
Go on.
What does matter? Like, look at the things that does matter. Look at your relationship with God. Easy. Like, just keep doing that.
Yeah.
He will lay it out for you.
I had a moment like that in the middle of an exam in my HSC.
Excellent timing.
Yes, exactly. It was right before it was my studies.
Yeah.
I've got God, I don't need
Yeah,
data.
I'm walking out.
I didn't do that, and I don't recommend doing it. But it was right before my studies of religion exam, and I was trying to memorize quotes because we had 3 different religions to quote, and I was like, Judaism, what Bible verses can I use that apply to Judaism? And I was like, Jeremiah 29:11. Okay, again, Jeremiah 29:11. And I was like, is that in the Torah? Oh, I don't know. And I got into the exam, and one of these sample quotes for the Judaism section was Jeremiah 29:11. And it was during the reading part where you only have 5 minutes to read the whole paper and think about what you're going to do. And I remember reading it and sitting back and going, and like praying just for like a few minutes. And then they were like, oh, start writing. And I was like, oh, okay. Amen. But I just, in that moment, I was just kind of like sitting in an exam that would like define what I kind of did for the next few years and all that stuff, and just seeing that Bible verse and then reminding me that like God's got me. That was a really like solidifying moment for me.
Rip up.
Yeah.
I reckon that's 2 great answers there, but we know Peter's stitched us all.
Yeah.
So let's let Eager Beaver have a go, hey?
Excellent. No, but I think like
No pressure.
Our normal gut reaction is to like think about that thing that we're gonna do, and we kind of tie our calling to a vocation. But when we open the Bible, God is never not calling us to stuff. He's always calling us to something, and that is loving our neighbor.
Come on.
And it's loving him, and it's walking humbly and seeking justice, and again walking with him. And so it's like our everyday calling is not necessarily a vocation, though it can be, or a career or whatever. Our everyday calling is literally to walk with God. And the thing is that nothing is a surprise to him. he knows what the next step is. Like, he knew the COVID life was going to happen. Nothing's a surprise to him. And so if we like are literally living out our calling with him every day, we're going to be in step with him. We're going to be in step with his spirit, and we're going to land where he wants us.
Fantastic.
What about if your parents are like just trying to get you to
figure out what uni degree
what
or
uni course you're going to do?
Yeah.
Right? And you're like, well, really, I'm just going to love people.
Your parents are like, oh.
That's the thing.
I had a friend who said, I just want to go to countries, teach kids about Jesus, and play soccer with them. And I was like, I don't think there's a degree for that.
That's sick. That's
you can go
good.
to.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, let's delve into that.
But it's a great question, because we feel that, right? It's like we do actually have to make decisions about the trajectory of our life or tomorrow, right? But like for me, so I was like, okay, what do I know that like God has put in me? And I really love people, and I know that, and I do really love people. So I was like, maybe one way that I can help people. And the other thing is just so lame, but I really just love like watching videos on Instagram of like medical videos. Sorry. So
Wait. Just to clarify, because there's 2 types of people who like watching that. There's people who like watching bones breaking in slow motion. And then there's people who like watching the surgeon theatre. Like
I'm kind of both. So you know, you
Too
gotta see
far.
both sides of.
Have you ever seen an eye being?
No, stop! This is a PG-rated program.
Parents,
Parents, don't turn this off. I'm
that
sorry.
was year 8 science. It's
We'll
in
kick her off the
curriculum.
panel. 2 strikes.
Throwing eyeballs across the room. Anyway.
We digressed from the eyeball
We
scooping.
have, yes. Anyway, so I was like, well, maybe this is a weird jump. Maybe I'll go and do nursing.
Yeah.
And so I did. That's what I did. I was like, I just want to help people, so I went and did nursing for a year.
Oh, that's good.
And then I kind of landed there, and then after 2 years, so nursing degree is 3 years, so I did 2. I was like, it's not quite what
Really?
I'm after. And I realized God designed me to like have a bit more bigger picture thinking. So I went off and I did something else. And that's okay.
Cool.
You just try stuff
Yeah,
with
you
God,
bet.
and He'll
I
teach
can't
you
wait
some
for those
things.
moments. Yeah. When
And
you
like,
go
I
to
learned so much during that degree about how to look after vulnerable people, and I do that every day of my job.
So you wouldn't trade the time you spent at uni doing the degree that you didn't finish for getting into whatever you're doing now earlier?
He uses everything.
I reckon that's a huge. piece
And
of
we're
advice.
like, we might not know exactly what he's calling us to do, but we've just got to start walking like what you.
take a
But
step.
what he's not doing, he's not calling us to do nothing.
Correct.
And we just got to keep. We've got to, if we know it or not or what it is, you just got to do something and just keep working at it, and then you'll find out. You'll know, no, that's not good. Yeah, that is good. No, it's not.
Yeah.
He'll steer you.
Gosh, he teaches some stuff on the way.
Yeah, absolutely. So I got a bit distracted by spicy seal. Something about a wholesome Minecraft server.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah, not sure. Someone will
Yeah.
translate that for me later. We're going to go to another question now. This one comes from the senior boys at Benny Yed crew. I'll try to do the reading of this justice because the wording's important. And this is going to a video with Lauren Bale, who is the food spurt. That's food and expert. The food spurt of our of our youth crew. So here we go. The question is, how is fairy bread so flipping good? It's just butter, bread, and plastic colour. Cue the video.
Hey, so the question I have been given is, why is fairy bread so flippin' good? It is just butter, bread, and plastic colour. And the answer to that is actually that when we eat things like sugar, the plastic colour, or butter and fats, it actually releases some neurochemicals in our brain that stimulates a sense of well-being. So things like serotonin and dopamine and different neurotransmitters like that turns on a chemical reaction in our brain that makes us think happy thoughts and feel quite good, at least in the meantime. And that is why fairy bread is so flippin' good.
Okay, there you go. You heard it here. Fairy bread, proven to be absolutely golden. Thank you, Lauren, for shedding some light on that. I'm going to divulge in some fairy bread after this, I think. If we have any bread and sprinkles in the house, maybe we could get on that in the next video. I don't know. So there we go. Okay, next question. We were talking about knowing what you want God to do. That's tied with doing and earning. That's another big question. Do we have to earn the right to be loved by God or that kind of thing? So this question comes from that kind of vein, I suppose, of thinking doing and earning is part of what we do. So where does the idea that you have to earn favor in God's eyes come from? And how do we get caught up in that? Yeah.
It's a good question, because I think for me, I'll be honest, I definitely have had periods in my life where I feel like I've had to earn God's love or earn God's favor. But we literally just don't have to. He just loves us so much anyway. But it kind of gets stuck in our brain, because I think, and I'm keen to hear your guys' thoughts on this, but I think because we feel like we have to earn humans' favor and love. But God is just so not like that.
Well, that's what the world screams at us. I think that's the message we get our whole lives is what are you doing that makes you worth loving?
Yeah.
So the question the world screams at you.
Literally.
And so this idea that God is the total opposite.
Yeah.
It's the best thing about it, that we just are completely encompassed in love because we were created in His image. You can't say that about anybody else, except your parents, but
even then, I feel like occasionally your parents are like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah, my parents definitely have favourite.
Crash your car, they'll ask that question.
I think you're experience now. Sorry,
No,
that sounds...
That was excellent.
That sounded very personal.
I haven't crashed a car.
Okay, that's all good. just asking for a friend, she says.
Yeah.
It's so good. Yeah, I feel like I jumped in on you. Do you have more to add in that?
But yeah, but at the same time, you know, we read in the Bible about being obedient and how God really loves that. But the thing is that our obedience, yes, is really important, but it's really important because God loves our obedience. So we have this thing called, have you guys heard of like love languages?
Yes.
Of how you like receive and how you give love, how
Acts
you
of
might
service.
show it, acts of service, time, whatever it might be. The way that I like to think about it is that God has a love language and his love language is obedience.
Cool.
So when we spend time with him, when we are operating in our calling every day, when we are worshipping him, even when we're having a chat to him, praying with him, loving our friends, whatever we're doing, if we're being obedient in this way, God loves that. But he loves you regardless.
Yeah.
And it's a bit mind-boggling to us.
It's completely mind-boggling
Yeah.
because of that message that the world's constantly telling us. You have to earn the right to be loved. And God's just like, nah, you're broken, but I love you.
I love you anyway.
No matter what you do. Yeah.
Yeah, and like, how cool is it that we have the privilege of being able to show him love by doing these things?
So good. Do you guys like the smell of old books?
Oh, yes.
Depends on if they must.
Let me tell you.
How-
Let me tell you how.
30 to 60 years.
Let me
is
tell.
fine.
I'll tell you exactly right. So I have this book that I found in, and Eleanor's gonna be like, stop talking about this book all the time, because I talk about this book all the time. I found it in an op shop in Tasmania. It's leather bound with gold lined pages,
Fancy.
and it was written in the 19th century.
So good.
So it's like, I don't know if it's printed. Like, probably not that old. But the book itself was written that long ago. Like, so old. And and it tackles this question, like how do we do what God wants us to do? How do we earn God's love? And it's so funny that you said that word obedience, because I was like so excited. I was like, it's like an essay. So it's like building up to the chapter that's going to answer the question.
How fat is this book?
Oh, it's not too fat. I'll lend you a copy. Jokes, I'll never find another one. And I got to the part where he's like, and on the next page, I will reveal the answer. And he goes, obedience.
Ooh.
And that's so funny that you just said that as well, because I've been wrestling with that idea. I think that's it. I think that's the answer to it. Like, what do we want? What does God want us to do? How do we earn God's love? Where does this idea come from? I think it's just a matter of being obedient. It's no more complex or no more simple than that.
But the other thing is that we think that obedience is like this heavy drain or like this burden, but it's actually, if we live in obedience, it's good for us. It's good for others, and like it's freeing. Like it's like we don't, for some reason we don't want to do it, or like it seems wrong, or it's fun not to, or whatever. But like God's given us these boundaries to live in because it's good for us, not because of any other reason.
And it's how he shapes us.
Yeah.
So like, God will shape us through our obedience because he's saying stuff to us. Like, he's for us, right?
Yeah.
He's got plans and purposes for us.
My God is for us, so who could?
Everyone thought about that.
Hang on. Great song. Anyone's favourite worship song?
Up there. Favorite bridge, maybe? Favorite bridge?
yeah.
Favorite bridge.
Very good question. What's your comment? Your favorite bridge to a song? And people who are unmusical right now, like, what's a bridge?
That bit that you sing over and over and over.
If you go to church on a Sunday and you see it on the projector, it has like in brackets bridge or at the bottom.
I never got that. Okay. We got another bold question here. No, what did you say? Oceans? Nah, it's got too many chords.
Oceans is just one bridge.
I have a meme about
There's too many words and too many chords. This question's in bold. I think you guys missed that, so you know it's a big deal. How can we share Jesus with our friends? Excuse me, Pasito. How can we share Jesus with our friends? And how do we get our friends to listen?
That's a really hard one.
Ooh, shaka-laka.
I'm really scared to do that and help. Like, I have been really nervous about talking about Jesus to my friends. Because I went to a school that was very like, science is the answer. What do you mean? Like, Christianity, what? No. And so walking into that, I was very nervous about it. And it's just literally, you never expect when you're going to have that opportunity though. Like, it just comes and you just got to roll with it. And sometimes you have no idea what you're going to say. Like, I used to sit back and go, if my
best
friend,
moment.
Yeah, but like, I used to sit back and go, if my friend asked me, like, why do you follow Jesus? What would I say? And like, you come up with a million reasons. But like, when it gets down to the moment, it's like, It's just this revelation within you as well, and I think that's just one of the best moments ever. Like that's what happened to my dad. He was sitting on a train, and this guy just started talking to him about Jesus, and next thing you know, the same day he's baptized.
What?
I know.
What?
My nan's like, and I just got this call from your dad being like, "Hey, mum, I got baptized today." Yeah,
That's so good. That's amazing. God's like
waiting for that moment.
God, like he uses anything. Like even the fact that if you are a Christian in someone else's life and they don't know Jesus, you are a light to them.
You're already there.
You're already there, and like you know, you can tell people about Jesus not only through your words, use your actions as well,
like love,
just love. Literally, just being there for them, being a great friend. Maybe you know they're like, you know, why does this person want to do all these things for me? Why do I always feel so great when I'm around?
Because they're gonna ask eventually, like, what keeps you going? Like, why are you so? And then you can just say, well,
let me tell you about the joy of my life.
Yes.
Yeah, it's you know, people listen with their eyeballs in a way. You know, they can. There you go. There's your philosophical quote.
Nice.
Listen with your eyeballs, fam.
That's good.
Yeah, people see, and they notice. Yeah.
Real good. I found there's an analogy I got told once, really helpful as well. Like, because I think we get discouraged if we don't have that moment when we're telling our friends about Jesus. It's like, oh, dang it, they didn't want to get baptized after we chatted. Dang, I stuffed that up. Like, I don't think that's the process. I think it has to be in God's timing. And the analogy that someone told me once was like, when like Jesus was talking about the workers are few, but the harvest is there ready. Like, and he was talking about it's not our job to ripen fruit. We can't. We physically don't know how to ripen fruit. Only God does that. What can we do? Pick fruit. It's our job to look for people who are ready to receive Christ and help them to do that. Pick the fruit. But if someone's not ready, just love on them. Just go trust that God's right in that process. Great tackle there, friends. Good question. To a perhaps even more deeply philosophical question. And we're going to see this one in a video. Do you have... I'll get you guys to answer this first. Do you have ticklish ears?
What? I'd love to know what that means.
What do you mean?
I don't want to test it out right in a second.
Anyways, let's go to the video.
Hey guys, it's Rachel here. To answer the first question, no, I don't think my ears are ticklish.
No, I haven't got ticklish ears.
Ticklish ears. I don't think so.
Do I have ticklish ears? That's a really weird question. Does anyone have ticklish ears?
Yes, I have ticklish ears.
I don't think I've ever tried to tickle somebody else's ears, and I don't think anyone's ever tried to tickle mine. Touching other people's ears just seems really weird.
No, I don't have ticklish ears. And I don't think I know anyone who does.
Pretty sure I don't have ticklish ears, but no one's going to get close enough to find out.
It's been forever since someone's tickled my ears, so I probably can't say for sure, but like, I don't think I have ticklish ears, so sorry, nice try.
Yes, I have ticklish ears.
Yes, I have ticklish. I don't know if I have ticklish
I have
ears.
like so many questions.
It's just never come up in my life.
No.
Like,
Really?
no. It's not.
Who came up with this question?
It came from the Bensville Junior girls.
10 out of 10.
I think I heard the background to this. Someone was saying they have ticklish ears. And all the other girls were like, what? And so they wanted to ask. Just on the side here real quick before we grab a few more questions and wrap things up. The chat just got lit after we asked about bridges. Like, it was pretty quiet for a while. Karen's on my screen because the video's blocked. Okay, so the first response, I don't know how familiar you are with Central Coast, Peter. What is your favourite bridge? The Rip Bridge.
Nice. Excellent.
Well played, Jesse Van Wyck, but then it escalated. The Golden Gate Bridge. The Harbour Bridge. But then it got to songs, okay? So, someone said Smoko.
Okay.
I'm on Smoko, so leave me alone. I think that's it.
Not a worship song.
Yeah, not sure.
Great bridge
Not
though.
sure. A few of the actual songs that got mentioned. Another in the Fire. We were talking about that earlier. Somebody to Love.
Oh.
Can anybody find me?
Oh, okay, because I couldn't think of it.
Such a banger.
Who You Say I Am. That's a banger. Or Who You Say I Am.
It's a worship mashup right now. We
Which
should.
is coming at you after the break. No. Okay. There's some great
That's
answers
good.
there. Keep the chats coming.
We're
Don't
ready.
forget, we're almost
Jesse.
at the end of the night. Keep counting the so goods. We've had a few submissions for the screenshot thing, and I tell you, there's some crackers. So keep that coming. Okay, next one up. Do you have? Oh, man,
Ticklish.
we've dealt with that, Peter.
Sorry.
Do you have, maybe Ticklish Ears could be a part of this question if it's your temptation.
Don't bring it back.
Do you have any tips for resisting temptation?
Oof, that's a good question.
It came to my mind, but it's very like Sunday school, like God, Jesus, the Bible.
God, Jesus, the Bible.
It's the answer to
That's the
everything.
answer. Well,
But
I like
that's-
that.
That's the first time
Let's build on that.
Yes.
Do you have any tips for resisting
Oh, okay.
temptation?
Look. Oh no, I can't.
No,
Nothing.
it's a tough. No, I tell. What comes to mind for me straight away is don't do it alone.
Yeah.
Don't do it alone.
Yeah.
Yeah, accountability. That's the
Yeah.
big one that I've always heard. Is when people are going through stuff, no matter what it is, and they know it's not good for them, and they want to stop it. One of the most tried and true practices for that is to get yourself an accountability partner of some sort. So say, hey, I'm struggling with this. Help me. Can I text you when I accidentally do this? And you can keep me accountable.
You want to have a cookie?
Another helpful thing that I've thought about is don't. So I picture it as don't cross the road. But if there's something that's tempting over there, don't even get near it.
Yeah.
It's easy if you're walking past something and there's something that's tempting. Let's just say Mars bar, right?
Yeah.
Truth though.
For this sake, but if you walk down the street and there's a corner store or something, they've got a stall out front and there's Mars bars right there.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lot easier to walk past it if you're on the other side of the road.
Yeah.
Rather than if you're on the side like, oh, I'll just go down the
Just have a little
biscuit
look.
aisle, you know, and just see.
You did that.
Throwback.
There's this big, he ggets lost in the biscuit aisle for 40 minutes.
I believe
apparently,
that.
every time he-
I totally believe that. Not a doubt in my mind when that happens.
So it's best for me just not to go into the supermarket.
No, so that's not gonna work. That's not gonna work.
So just don't cross the road. Is how I
Great.
picture it. Don't even let yourself get near whatever
Great.
the problem is.
I heard it said a similar way, or a similar tip said a different way, I should say, is like figure out where your line is, then draw another line a long way before that, and stick to that line.
Yeah.
Just don't even go there, because it's the same with temptation, catch-all phrase, but this almost applies to all of them. I feel like Mars bars, tickle ears, whatever you're talking about. If you're telling yourself I'm going to stop a long way before that, then you're straight away eliminating what makes temptation so difficult, which is the emotion around it. I think that's huge. Any
And-
other? Yeah.
Yeah, and just like your willpower is a muscle.
Ooh.
And so it's like the more that you practice drawing that line for yourself, the better you're going to get at it.
Gains.
Gains, literal bulking season
Literal
for
bulking
power.
Never skip leg day. Yeah.
Have you seen this verse in 1 Corinthians?
Hit us.
10:13. And God is faithful; He will not let you be tempted beyond what you can bear. But when you are tempted, He will also provide a way out so that you can endure it.
So you can literally always do it. 'cause of
Yeah,
it.
yeah. So even if you think you can be tempted, there's always an out, and you have whatever you need to get out as well. So,
good.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, I got a little distracted towards the end of that.
Yeah,
'cause
so
there's
what do you got there?
very unhappy. There's arguments over whether there's a bridge and another in the fire. People are like, this.
Again, the whole song.
This, this website says there is. This website says there isn't. Luke Moody, who
research.
worship leads at Bensville sometimes,
What did he
says there's not. He's
Well, that's pretty
people
cool.
are upset about that. Let's jump into final question we've got here on the sheet. I don't know what else is going to come through there to deal with,
Yeah,
but
let's see what happens.
if you could give one message to people, that's literally what it says, to people.
Not just
To humans.
To humans.
In general.
If you could give one message to the world, no, it
like
says
stand
people.
up on a stage with a microphone.
Yeah.
Just
Have you got that?
It says. I don't know know how
I've
you
got a
can
book. There might be something in it.
If anyone needs to grab a bit of Pasito, feel free. This is mine. Keegan, by the way, he wants a happy hour of Pasito when we're back at youth from 7:30 till 8:30.
Nice.
Unlimited Pasito available.
Okay.
Maybe we can check that out for Soul Survivor 2021.
Can do.
We should see if Kirks can sponsor Soul Survivor 2021.
Imagine.
That'll be the best.
If anyone who
Right before bedtime.
associated with Kirks, sometimes we should do
10:30.
if you could give one message to people, what would it be?
Oofed.
Isn't there a little
We should have had an
subtext that
ooft.
says
We should have had an oofed count.
Oofed.
Sorry,
isn't there like is there anything under that or is
I don't have any. That's what I've got. If you
you're not allowed to say apart from the the guidelines.
Oh, okay. So let's
like,
let's eliminate God loves you.
yeah.
Yeah, let's eliminate because that's like a message that we all need to know. But let's not take that as our answer because that's probably like, oh, we knew you were going to say that.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
God loves you. Okay, we got that out of the way. It's true.
There's a
It's
reason
true.
why
It's
Jesus
But
is the
you guys
answer.
can't have it as an answer.
Yes, there is a reason for
Yeah.
that. Is anyone pre-prepared?
No, I don't. So here we go. I don't even know.
I've got one. I'll give you guys time to think.
Have you got one?
I just
Yes.
thought of it. This is something I saw on a YouTube video. For anyone who knows Jonathan Van Ness from Queer Eye. This
What?
Hear it out. It's something that he says to himself. I watched it thinking, this guy's, never expecting to hear something that could be so relevant to Christianity. Then I watched it and I was like, whoa.
What's queer?
You don't know? It's a show. Like
You
a
didn't
Netflix
know
show.
1098 God is great.
Okay. I deserve that. But it's a show, and it's like a bunch of guys that kind of like vamp up people's lives that need it most. But he said that a thing he says to himself, especially in like dealing with so many people on a daily basis and working in the industry, he breathes in patience and breathes out love. And that's just like his motto for everything. I just thought like, that's pretty good. Like you could apply that to Christianity and what Jesus says in so many ways, but just as a basis.
Say it one more time, right?
Breathe in patience, breathe out love.
Whoa.
Like breathing, you do it all the time, all the heckin' time. You can't live without it. So can't live without breathing in patience, breathing out love.
Nice.
That's my message.
Maya's done, by the way. Maya's about to depart. Yeah.
See you guys.
Good one, then. Good one.
I reckon Jesus says something pretty good.
Oh, he says something very similar, but I couldn't quote it.
I would say that if we're talking about non-Christians, I don't know, is there...
There's no specification. You can give an answer for both. I'm happy with that.
People.
I'm going to moderate.
I'd
for
say
them.
if it's non-Christians, I would sort of say check out the Bible and like
Check it out.
and it's open for scrutiny. Like hold it up and like do what you can to discredit it because it's God's word.
It's the truth.
And the more you look into it, the more it's real. So I think that's pretty good for non-Christians. To Christians, like pull your head in.
Pull your head in. No, what do you mean by that? Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I think Christians are known for being judgmental.
Cool.
I think they're not being known for what we're meant to be known for. So I think we could do well as a Christian society, whatever that means, a Christian group, to represent God better.
Great.
To truly love. Yeah, it's a great challenge for us all. And it's such a good reminder that when we walk around every day, to truly love everyone that we come into contact with, because it's literally life-changing.
Yes.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. Nice.
I'm gonna skirt around the Jesus loves you thing and say that, and this is funny because it's from the Bridge of Waymaker, but he is for you.
Come on.
And the blessing, sorry.
Oh, yeah.
The
The
blessing.
blessing.
The blessing.
Yeah, I was trying to get the melody in my head. You're right.
Yeah. He is for you, and I think from what all the things we've talked about tonight, one of them being how do we earn God's love for us, or how can we fulfill our calling in him and all that kind of thing. It's he's for you, he's literally standing next to you and he's go for it. you're my son, you're my daughter, like go for it, go nuts, like I'm standing with you. And that's a very empowering thing to have. And I think as well, when we feel empowered like that, to have someone that's got our back, that's rooting for us, that they're excited for us, that nothing's a surprise to them, like you just get to get excited about living your life like that, and you get to get excited about sharing that with others.
Wicked.
So he's for you.
Nice.
Yep, nice one.
You got
Great
one?
answers there. You're oh, jeez.
You're not getting out of this.
I was gonna try.
One thing to say all to all people.
Yeah, it's a tough one, right? I'm gonna like try and flip the answer we weren't allowed on its head, right? So God loves you. Let's flip that around. My message would be try loving God back. That's my challenge. Cause he loves you no matter what, right? But he wants to be in a relationship. That's a two-way street. So I would encourage you to explore what is it that you can do to get in that relationship with God. Try it, I dare you. In a similar way that Aiden said. Test it out. You know, we like to sit from afar and look at things and criticize. My message would be think, how can you get in that relationship that's a two-way relationship and make it a relationship, not just I know God loves me, but make it a relationship. And I just want to see what happens in people's lives because it's a game changer for me, and I know it is for you guys as well. Well, that's the last question that we've got written right here. The chat is descending into
chaos.
Yeah, chaos is a good word. In news, Coast Revolution has 7 more subscribers than it did at the beginning. Well done to you. Hit like and subscribe. We'll send you some merch. No, I'm just kidding. Don't know if you have merch. But now I'm going to invite you. Make sure that you submit in the comments before you depart how many so goods you heard. That's where we're going to see your answer somewhere in the comments.
Yeah, I think it is.
I think it is. And we'll... oh, jeez, guys. And we're going to check that against the tally to find out who the winner is there. And also we'll be reviewing the screenshots to see who we thought was the best there. I've got an idea about which one might take the cake. But, hey, tonight's been a lot of fun. Thank you for your... Thank you for your participation, team. Shout out to the crew around the fire, hanging out in the theatre at the Harvey's house, wherever everyone else is. Thank you for your participation. Thank you for your questions. It's been a lot of fun. Hopefully, we've given you some answers. I encourage you, keep asking your Connect group leaders these types of questions. This is a panel on YouTube. That doesn't mean this conversation ends because we're about to say goodnight. This conversation can be ongoing. Get in a Connect group, slam your Connect group leader with these questions. But to you guys, thank you so much for joining me on the couch tonight.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Sorry I didn't bring enough robes for everyone. I'll work on it.
I think that's okay.
Yeah. But no, really appreciate you guys. Thank you. It was great to sing some 10-9-8. God is great. Some great answers there. Lots of fun. Any takeaway catchphrases? Anyone have like reality TV shows? People have like a finishing line. Does anyone have a good one to finish?
So good. So good.
So good.
Quite good.
just average. Just